I thought she was just working late, until I found torn clothes, hidden messages, and a truth that shattered everything I believed about my marriage. You ever look back and realize all the signs were there the whole time? Yeah, they were. I just didn't see them for what they were. Or maybe I saw them but not all at once, just one at a time. A stray clue here, a weird moment there. Nothing that screamed, something's wrong on its own. Even 2 or 3 of them together didn't set off any alarms. I was just a husband doing his best, loving my wife, raising our kids, thinking we were doing okay. That's the thing though. The pieces didn't come together until that one night, the night everything shifted. Our life, at least to me, looked like your average marriage. Some highs, some lows. We weren't perfect, but nothing ever felt broken. She never told me there was a problem, and I always believed her when she said she'd talk to me if something was off. So I believed her. I believed in us. There was no warning. No big red flag waving in my face. My wife didn't act like she was unhappy. She didn't say our marriage was in trouble. So no, I didn't suspect a thing. Not until it hit me like a freight train. Yeah, maybe I was naive. Maybe I was too trusting. Blind even. Call it what you want. But I didn't see the storm coming until it was already here. And now the truth is right in front of me. Too many little things that all point to one massive, heartbreaking conclusion. There's someone else. Someone who doesn't belong in our life, in my life. I had made up my mind. Tonight, when she walked through that door, I was going to ask her straight out. I was going to confront the woman I'd loved for 8 years with the things I'd found, things I couldn't ignore anymore. I was terrified. Not just scared of the fight or what she might say, but scared that I was right. That everything I suspected was actually happening. And the worst part? I still loved her more than anything. My heart was aching. I felt like I was falling apart just thinking about what this conversation might do to us. But I couldn't keep quiet anymore. I needed answers. And I had to brace myself for the truth. Maybe, just maybe, she'd break down. Maybe she'd admit it and beg me to forgive her. God, I wanted that more than anything. Because if she meant it, if it was over, I think I could have found it in me to forgive her. I wanted to. Let me rewind a bit. It started, I guess, when things changed in the bedroom. We used to be close, intimate, 2-3 times a week like clockwork. But then it just faded. Now, maybe twice a month, if that. And it had been that way for about 3 months. When I asked, she said she was just exhausted. That work was draining her. She's a nurse at the hospital, and I know those shifts can be brutal. She started getting called in all the time, even when we'd planned a night alone. She was being paged constantly. But it wasn't just the physical stuff. It was the way she pulled away emotionally too. It was like the warmth between us had dimmed, like the love had been packed away with the rest of her things when she left for those long shifts. There were times I honestly thought I was just losing it, that maybe my imagination was running wild. I tried convincing myself it was nothing, that I was just being insecure. But in my gut, something didn't feel right. Even when we did have sex, it didn't feel like it used to. It was like she was the one steering the whole thing now, rushing through it, keeping it all surface level. What used to be a deep, drawn-out, connected experience now felt like a task to be checked off. I'm not trying to pretend I'm some kind of superstar in bed. Most guys aren't. But still, for most of our marriage, we'd take our time. An hour, sometimes 2. It was slow, passionate, and real. Now, 20 minutes, tops. And the strangest part was that she almost seemed determined to make it end as quickly as possible. She'd work hard, really hard, to get me to finish fast, like she was trying to just get it over with. Afterward, I used to hold her close, still kissing her, still wanting to be with her. Sometimes we'd even go again just because we were so wrapped up in each other. But now, the second I rolled off her, she'd slip out of bed without a word and head straight to the bathroom. I'd lie there, listening to the water run, hearing her wash up like she was scrubbing away the whole thing. And when she came back, she'd slide into bed, turn her back to me, and not say a word. That was new. That silence, that distance, it hit hard. It wasn't just the lack of affection. It was like she couldn't wait to be done with me. Still, I kept trying. I figured maybe I just needed to show her more love, more patience, more effort. But every attempt was met with rejection. I got turned down again and again until finally, nothing. It's been nearly 3 weeks now, and we haven't touched each other at all. The second thing I noticed was the way her whole demeanor started to shift. Her temper, her attitude, it was like I was living with someone else. She'd snap at me over the smallest things. The warmth in her voice, the playful teasing, the soft way she used to talk to me and the kids, it all faded. Suddenly, she seemed like she was just tired of everything. Tired of me. Her face barely lit up around the kids anymore, and the little jokes and laughter we used to share vanished. What replaced them was short, cold responses, snappy, bitter ones. Sometimes I'd get a grumbled what, or what now, just for asking how her day was. And when I'd suggest spending time together, I'd get hit with a dry, I don't feel like it tonight. It was like she woke up one day and decided she was done pretending. Like she was tolerating me out of obligation. And the woman I'd married, the kind, soft-spoken, gentle person I fell so deeply for, was gone. Then came the night everything truly unraveled. It was a Friday and I got home from work right on time. I'd taken off my tie and was walking through the house, hopeful that maybe, just maybe, tonight would be different. Maybe we could go out to dinner like we used to and try to get back on track. I saw her standing in the living room as I walked in. "Hey babe, I'm home," I said, trying to sound upbeat. "Are we still going out tonight?" She called back from upstairs, "Come up here, I want you to see my new outfit." "Yes, we're going." Her tone seemed normal. Not cold, not bitter, at least not yet. And for a second I felt hopeful. Maybe this could be a night we remember for the right reasons. I told myself to stay calm, be kind, be the man she fell in love with. Maybe she'd see it. Maybe she'd remember what we had. "All right," I called back with a little smile. "I'll be right up." As I made my way upstairs, I muttered under my breath, "Another new outfit? Seriously? That made 5 this month." Part of me wanted to roll my eyes, but I kept it to myself. But when I saw her, there she was, standing in front of the mirror, makeup flawless, hair curled to perfection. She was just slipping on her left heel, leaning back slightly, her knee bent as she adjusted the strap. Her body curved in that effortless way, hips tilted, and for a moment I couldn't lie to myself, she looked incredible. Like one of those women you'd see walking down the beach in Cancun in the middle of August, with the kind of heat that makes your chest tighten. And without thinking, the words just slipped out of my mouth. "So, where were these short, tight dresses hiding? Haven't seen you wear anything like that in years." I didn't mean it to come out sounding like criticism, but it did. She turned sharply, her face stiffening. "Well, get used to it," she snapped. "I've decided I'm going to start dressing how I feel, and tonight I feel 23 again. And thanks a whole lot, by the way. I thought you'd actually appreciate me trying to look nice for once. I've worked my butt off to get back to a size 22, same size I was back in college, but of course you don't see that. You think I'm too old or too fat, or maybe you just don't care anymore." That hit hard. She kept going, not giving me a chance to speak. I put this on thinking my husband would walk in, take one look at me and say something nice. Something like, "Wow babe, you look amazing." But no, just more of your backhanded comments. I tried to backtrack. I really did. "Hey look, the dress, it looks good." "Really? If you were out at the club with your girlfriends, I'd probably turn my head and think you were single and ready to mingle. If I were some random guy at a bar, I'd definitely be watching you walk by." I meant it as a compliment. But the second it came out of my mouth, I knew it was the wrong thing to say. Her eyes lit up, but not with joy, anger. "How dare you?" she fired back. "So I look like I'm asking for attention now? Like I'm trolling for a hookup? You ever stop to think maybe I just want to feel good about myself for once? Maybe I want someone to notice me, someone who actually sees me and holds me like I matter. Because it sure as heck doesn't feel like you do." I was stunned. I didn't know what to say. I tried weakly to defend myself. "I do tell you that you look good. I do tell you you're beautiful. I say it all the time." She just shook her head like she'd heard this tired excuse too many times before. And yeah, maybe I should have stopped there. Maybe I should have let it drop. But I didn't. I kept going, because I'm a man and I guess I still haven't figured out when to shut up. Eventually, after she got it all out and stood there steaming, I muttered, "Maybe trying to look 20 again all the time isn't the answer." She whipped her head toward me. "What's that supposed to mean?" And that's when it all truly started to unravel. I felt stuck, trapped in that impossible place where nothing I said could come out right. No matter how I tried, it was never enough, or it was always the wrong thing. She stood there in front of the mirror, adjusting her stocking, and that's when it really hit me, she wasn't wearing anything under the dress. No bra. No panties. Just those thigh highs. And suddenly, I didn't feel like her husband anymore, I felt like a stranger standing in the room. I tried again gently. "Cheryl, you look amazing. You really do. But you don't need that kind of dress to prove anything. I mean it, if we're together you could wear a t-shirt and jeans and I'd still be proud to be next to you." But the words barely landed. I kept talking, trying to steer us back to something normal. "It's just, every time we finally get a chance to go out, just the two of us, something happens. You get called in and the night disappears. It's like someone's watching us, waiting for us to finally catch a break, and then boom, your pager goes off." I hesitated, then added, And let's be honest, our sex life has almost completely vanished the last few months. Still she said nothing. Not a single word. Just stood there turning side to side, admiring her reflection in the mirror, smiling at herself like I wasn't even in the room. So I gave up. All right, I said, sighing. I'll jump in the shower real quick. Let's at least make it to dinner. She didn't say anything. Just turned around and walked out of the room. At the time I brushed it off. I told myself it was fine, that maybe we'd still have a decent night. But the truth lingered at the back of my mind. I didn't have to be with her for her to wear that outfit. And dressed like that, she looked like she wasn't just out for dinner, she looked like she was looking for someone. Anyone. That dress screamed attention. And I couldn't help but notice the way the other men stared at her. Some couldn't even pretend to be subtle. I sat there across from her, trying to hold a conversation, trying to connect. But everything I said was met with a short reply. A few words here. A nod there. Nothing more. Then, in the middle of it all, she stood up, took her phone out of her purse, and walked away with it pressed to her ear. She was gone for maybe 15 minutes. When she finally returned, I asked, "Everything all right?" She let out a tired sigh. "No. They need me at the hospital. It's an emergency. A little girl fell, we have to relieve the pressure in her head." I'm glad I answered. I really am. I need to go. I nodded slowly, not even sure what to say anymore. She leaned in, kissed me on the cheek like it was just another Tuesday, and said, "We'll try again tomorrow." Okay. I forced a smile and whispered, "Yeah. Okay." But deep down I knew tomorrow wasn't coming. "I know you've got to go," I told her, trying to keep my voice even. "So just go." She paused for a second and looked at me, really looked at me, but didn't say a word. Then she turned and left. After she was gone, I sat there for a while, just staring at nothing. Something wasn't sitting right with me. I couldn't shake this heaviness in my chest, so I walked over to the answering machine and deleted the voicemails that were still lingering. There were 4 of them. All from the same guy. New clothes that made her look like she was ready to hit the club. No intimacy between us for weeks. A wife on edge, snapping over the smallest things. And now a string of messages from this Ray guy? Still, in my head, I kept telling myself none of it meant what it seemed. I wasn't ready to believe it. Not yet. I guess I just couldn't. But curiosity got the better of me. I picked up the phone and dialed the number from the messages. It rang a few times before someone answered. A man's voice came through, casual and too familiar. "Cheryl? You on your way yet?" My throat tightened. I said, "This is Cheryl's husband." Silence. Then a soft click. He hung up. I sat down again, this time with a knot in my stomach. I turned on the TV, hoping to distract myself, but nothing held my interest. I gave up and wandered into the kitchen to wash the dishes. Figured I might as well keep moving. After that, I gathered up the laundry from the bedrooms. Just trying to stay busy, I guess. Keep my hands moving while my brain spun in circles. She and I used to split the housework. These days, though, it felt like I was doing more and more of it on my own while she was, wherever she was. As I sorted through the laundry, I noticed something that made me stop cold. One of her bras, if you could even call it that, was practically see-through. Thin, sheer material. There was no way that thing offered any real coverage. Just enough to say something was on. Then, while separating the whites from the coloreds, I picked up a pair of her slacks. Something felt off. Inside the pants, tucked deep into one leg, were a pair of tan panties. They were crumpled, like they'd been pulled off in a hurry. I held them in my hand for a moment, staring. Not knowing what to think. But feeling it, deep in my gut, that this wasn't right. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the phone and called the hospital. When the receptionist picked up, I asked for Cheryl. "She left around 9 o'clock, the woman said. That didn't sit right with me either. "Wait, 9 o'clock? I asked. "That was over half an hour ago. She should be home by now." The line went quiet for a minute, then the woman came back. "Yes, sir, she left at 9 o'clock. But she mentioned dropping off a couple of coworkers and maybe grabbing a drink or something to eat. She told us if her husband called, we should let him know not to wait up." I stood there, clutching the phone, trying to keep my breathing steady. Again. He always seemed to be around when she needed a ride. Always seemed to be the one waiting. Always in the picture. Just enough to be invisible until now. And I realized maybe he wasn't just opening the car door for her after work. I don't know what made me look through her clothes again that night. Maybe I was just chasing down my own unraveling sanity. But when I grabbed a pair of her slacks from the laundry pile, I noticed something strange. The seam along the hips was torn wide open. Not just worn, ripped. And it wasn't the only one. A couple of her outfits looked stretched and damaged, like they'd been yanked off in a hurry. One blouse had a sleeve nearly torn at the cuff. At first I wanted to believe it was just wear and tear. But too many pieces told the same story. They weren't being taken off with care. Someone was in a rush, or didn't care. Then came the moment that broke whatever denial I had left. I was digging through the back of her closet, past the clothes she rarely wore, when I found a new row of dresses. Short, low-cut, skin-tight things. The kind of dresses she never wore around me anymore. I picked one up, held it by the hanger, and the scent hit me, faint perfume, not hers. Cologne maybe. Something distinctly not right. And just like that, I knew. I didn't want to know, but I knew. Still, I couldn't stop myself. I told myself I'd check her calendar on the computer, maybe find something innocent to hang on to. The PC was hers, but she never password protected it. I opened it and stared at the calendar. Judy Moore. That name showed up a few times. Out with Judy, it said. Over and over. But the other markings stood out more, cryptic little initials. PFRS. And there they were, scattered across the last 3 months. The RS made my stomach drop. Could it mean Dr. Ray Stevens? The timing lined up. Emails? Just junk. A few from a company I didn't recognize. Reynolds something. Deleted like she was trying to clear them out fast. Was it enough to go see a lawyer? Probably. Did I want to? God. I didn't know. I was angry. I was heartbroken. And underneath all of that, I was starting to feel a deep sadness I couldn't shake. My hands were trembling. I kept telling myself not to jump to conclusions, but the trail wasn't leading anywhere good. Then I went to empty the trash in the bathroom. 2 empty douche bottles. Both recently used. And the trash had just been taken out maybe 2 weeks ago. Why 2? That fast? Why now? I didn't know what to make of it. But I held on to them anyway, just in case. I didn't know what I was doing. I only knew I didn't trust anything anymore. Then came the question that burned in my brain. If she's been cheating on me for 3 months, where did she go all those other nights? Receipts, just a few. 2 or 3 hotel stays. That's it. It didn't add up. And that made it worse. I walked out to the garage and stared at her car for a while. Something told me to check it. I searched under the seats, around the dashboard. Nothing. But when I opened the trunk, my flashlight slipped out of my hand and rolled to the back, disappearing beneath the matting. Of course it did. That's just the kind of night I was having. I sighed, reached in, and pulled up the lining to grab it. And that's when I saw it. Tucked into the far corner, half buried, something small. A thumb drive. I didn't even hesitate. I took it inside, plugged it into the computer, and began copying the contents. Emails. Dozens of them. I tried opening the files on that thumb drive, but I couldn't get past the encryption. Whatever was on there, it wasn't meant to be easily seen. So I packed everything, the panties, the torn clothes, the receipts, and the empty douche bottles, and stashed them in a duffel bag, hiding it in the back of my car. I figured I'd keep collecting what I could before doing anything drastic. I went back into the closet and took 2 of the outfits that were either ripped or missing buttons. That's when I noticed there were more than I'd realized. One skirt had a tear right at the waistband, like it had been pulled too hard. A button was gone, the fabric stretched thin. Another was a lamb's wool sweater. Expensive, soft, clearly new. I'd never seen her wear it. But the neckline? It looked like someone had yanked it down, stretched beyond repair. It didn't seem like normal wear and tear. It looked aggressive. That's when I started piecing it all together, not just the facts but the feelings. And all of it pointed to something I didn't want to believe. Later that night she gave me the riot act. Just unloaded on me out of nowhere. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just stood there, letting her let it out, watching her storm out of the room. I was angry, sure. But something in me said to stay calm. Collect more. Wait. I'm going to bed, she said coldly. I'm exhausted. No good night. No, I love you. Just nothing. I followed her into the bedroom, watching as she tried to reach behind herself to unzip her dress. She was struggling with it, her back arched, tugging at the zipper. Without saying a word, I walked over to help. My hands touched the fabric and I could feel how tightly it clung to her. We managed to get it down and she slipped it off. I reached for her arm, just wanting to connect. Maybe reset the night. But she jerked away. No, she snapped. Not tonight. Probably not ever again. I stood there, stunned. I'm taking a shower and going to bed, she said, walking toward the bathroom. Why don't you sleep in the other room? I want peace. I want quiet. And I don't want to be grabbed by you in the middle of the night. I was floored. Cheryl, all I wanted was a good night kiss from my wife. That's it. I wasn't going to hurt you. She didn't respond, just kept moving. Are you with Ray? I asked. She paused. Fine, she muttered. I'll sleep in the guest room. I followed her, still clinging to some thread of hope, still reaching out. I leaned in, kissed her cheek, then her neck. She didn't move. Didn't respond. Her face looked hollow, cold. There was no trace of the woman I loved in her eyes, just emptiness. Maybe even resentment. When I kissed her lips, it was like pressing my mouth against stone. She didn't kiss back. Didn't even flinch. The air around her felt like ice. What's going on, Cheryl? I whispered. What happened to you? I'm tired, she said flatly. I want to shower and go to sleep. I'll see you in the morning. She went into the bathroom and shut the door behind her. I don't know what possessed me then. Maybe it was desperation or just that terrible need to understand what was really happening. But when she stepped out wrapped in a towel, I reached for it. I just needed to know. I tugged gently. She screamed. She fought back, kicking and pushing me with one hand, then both hands clenching the towel like her life depended on it. But I held on, slowly, not forcefully, like I was trying to hold on to more than just fabric. Like I was trying to pull some kind of truth out of her. And finally, she stopped. Maybe she got tired. Maybe she realized I wasn't letting go. But in that moment, the silence between us said more than any screaming match ever could. She just stood there, letting the towel fall away, staring at me with this blank expression. Then, in a cold, sharp voice, she asked, "Happy now?" I looked at her, at the body I used to admire, the face I used to wake up next to with nothing but love. And in that moment, I understood why she'd held onto the towel so tightly. Why she didn't want me to touch her anymore. Her body wasn't mine to touch. Not anymore. Still trying to make sense of it all, I asked, "Is it Ray?" She didn't even hesitate. "Yes," she said. Just like that. I must have gone pale or something because she looked at me again and added, "Oh God, don't start crying, bud. Be a man. Be one, for once in your life. Get out of here so I can take my shower." I didn't say anything at first. I couldn't. The words were stuck in my throat. But eventually I whispered, "Do you even know why I'm crying?" She didn't flinch. "Yes," she said like it was obvious. "Because I was with someone tonight. Because I slept with the man I'm with now, the man you're going to have to deal with from here on out." But that wasn't it. Not really. "No," I said. "I'm crying because the love we used to have, it's gone. And the truth of that is hitting me harder than anything else. I'm crying because I know that tomorrow, everything changes. Everything ends." She crossed her arms and stared at me like I was a stranger. "Oh yes," she said. "I'm done. And we're done. For good. I hope it was worth it for you, whatever this life was. Because you've lost it. The house, your wife, maybe even your kids. We'll see about all that. But just know this, I've moved on." I tried to stay calm, but it felt like the room was collapsing around me. She just kept going. "I'm with someone better now," she said flatly. "He's a doctor. He's wealthy. He treats me like I matter. And yes, he's better in bed. We told each other we were in love tonight, right after after we were together. I didn't need the details. I didn't want them. But then she said something that knocked the breath out of me. "You know what's crazy?" she added, almost like she was laughing to herself. "I used to wonder if you were even the father of the kids. I mean, I wouldn't know. I've been with others. I just figured if I got pregnant, you'd assume they were yours anyway." I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Why?" I asked. "Why would you say something like that?" She shrugged like it was no big deal. "If I'm being honest, you're just not built for it. Not really. Not enough to leave a mark, if you know what I mean. So maybe you're not their father. Maybe you are. Who knows?" I just stood there, stunned, silent. Eventually, I found enough strength to speak. "Well, maybe I'm not what you wanted. But I was faithful. I was present. I loved you, Cheryl. I loved us. And even if I wasn't perfect, I never betrayed you." She rolled her eyes. "I was going to tell you in the morning," she muttered. "I was going to say I wanted a separation. But honestly, what would have been the point? We've been done for a long time." She stood there, completely exposed, not just physically but in every way a person can be. And what she said next felt like a knife to the chest. "I'm done being your wife," she said, calm like she was talking about dinner plans. "You seeing me like this, knowing what just happened, should make it easier for both of us. There's no point dragging it out. No trial separation. No pretending. We're finished. I belong to someone else now, mind, body, and everything in between." I just stared at her, trying to keep from shaking. She kept going. "He gives me everything you never did. Not on our honeymoon, not during any anniversary, not even in those early days. He makes me feel alive, desired. He wants me all the time. And I want him just as badly. He drives me wild. Every word she spoke felt designed to tear me down. He's better than you at everything, she added, her voice sharp and sure, like she wanted it to leave a scar. And the worst part? I knew she meant for it to hurt. I stood there, swallowing the pain like broken glass until finally I'd had enough. I looked her in the eye. You say he's better than me in everything? I said quietly. No, Cheryl. Maybe he's just better at treating you like something to use. Toy. A prop. A blow-up doll. She didn't even flinch. He touches me with more fire in one finger than you ever did with your whole body. You never understood what passion even was. You gave up your kids, your home, your marriage, for what? I said. A bigger toy? I hope he's worth it. But know this, I'll never be your husband again. That part of me is gone. She sneered. Good. We'll figure it all out after I get back from my trip. I turned and started walking out of the room. I couldn't listen to any more. My head was pounding. My chest felt like it was caving in. It was over, and now I really knew it. She shouted behind me. Yeah, we'll deal with it once I get back from the Caribbean. My honeymoon. My wedding. I'll have my lawyer call yours Monday. Her voice echoed like a bell I couldn't unhear. Then she went pale. Suddenly, she was scrambling toward the bathroom, trying to slam the door shut. I followed, too confused, too overwhelmed, and she shoved from the inside as I instinctively tried to push the door open. Don't touch me, she screamed. Get out. Just get out. She pushed with everything she had and I backed off. I didn't want to be there anymore. Not in that house. Not in that moment. It was all too much. In that moment, everything blurred. I don't know if it was rage or panic or heartbreak, but I pushed harder on the bathroom door than I meant to. It swung open fast, too fast, and hit her square in the shoulder. She stumbled backward, reaching out instinctively to catch herself. But she didn't make it. Her heel slipped. Her hand missed the counter. And then she went down, hard. I heard it before I saw it. The dull, sickening crack as her head hit the edge of the bathtub. It didn't sound right. It didn't sound like something anyone should walk away from. I stood frozen for a second, not even breathing. Everything was still, too still. I rushed to her side, shaking, trying to understand what had just happened. 1 second we were shouting and the next, this. Later, when the questions came, I tried to explain everything. I told them how we had dinner that night, how she wore her new blue dress. I even called the restaurant manager and our waiter. They confirmed we were there, and that she left early to answer a call from the hospital. A young girl, they said. She told us she had to help with an emergency. I had no idea she was meeting someone else. That she wasn't headed to surgery at all, but straight into the arms of her lover. When the investigators asked what time she got home, I told them I didn't know. I said I was asleep. That the kids were staying at her mother's. That no one else was in the house. That I only woke up when I heard a loud noise coming from the bathroom. That was the story. That was what I gave them. Some of it true. Some of it, something else. In the weeks that followed, I held on to the only things I still had left. My children. They were mine. I had the test done, 99.978% conclusive. Mine. They were the one thing she couldn't take from me. When school ends for the summer, I plan to take them on a trip. Maybe a cruise. Just me and them. Maybe somewhere warm, somewhere quiet. Somewhere that doesn't echo with shouting and broken trust. As for Ray Stevens, do I want revenge? Sometimes, yeah. The anger I feel for him, it burns. But I know better than to act on that. I can't throw my life away because of the hate I carry. I have to carry it without letting it consume me. She once said, I'll deal with all that when I get back from my wonderful vacation. Well, she won't be coming back. And now it's my turn to deal with it.